It's time now for Keller at Large. This week he sits down with Governor Baker. Here's Jon Keller.
Good morning. Thanks very much for joining us. Always a pleasure to have an opportunity to sit down and talk, as we're going to for the next 2 weekends here on WBZ, with the Governor of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, His Excellency Charlie Baker. Welcome, Your Excellency.
Thank you, John. It's good to see you.
How do you feel about being called that?
I usually prefer to think of me as his mediocrity.
His mediocrity doesn't have
his excellency.
Quite the same ring, but we'll stick with His Excellency. Well, welcome. It's good to have you here. So
I try to make my wife and my kids call me that. It doesn't really work.
That doesn't go over? I'm not surprised. So I want to start off here. We're going to be talking about the opioid situation, about some other bills that have just passed the legislature. I've got to start off, though, because public interest is running high, based on my email inbox, on the topic of what happened with the state police, with this whole situation. And basically, what people want to know is, why did the now former state police commander order those troopers to change their reports on that judge's daughter? Do you have an answer to that question?
Well, I think his stated position, and he's never said anything other than this, he's owned it from the beginning, is that he wanted to clean it up because he felt some of the information in it was not germane to the charges that were being leveled against the defendant. And so our own review of this was, did his order, was that, right or wrong? And we basically concluded that it was a mistake. And
why? Why was it a mistake?
Because most of the information, virtually all of it, you could make a credible argument for belonged in the arrest report based on the charges that were being rendered, and frankly should have been dealt with by whoever was working the desk that
So
week.
Was this done to spare a prominent local judge embarrassment?
Well, there are going to be other investigations into this, and I know that the new colonel of the state police, Colonel Gilpin, is going to investigate this as well and put a probe in place. I said from the beginning that I felt the observation reports, which is the reprimand that got put in the files of the 2 troopers who were involved in that arrest, should be removed from their jackets, and Colonel Gilpin has told me she will remove those, which is good. And they also need to do a review. The other thing that came up in our review was that they need to put a much more explicit set of protocols in place with respect to how they handle issues associated with editing arrest reports.
But if
people do that sometimes for a variety of different reasons, grammar, the charges.
But in this case, it wasn't. In this case, it was not warranted. It was not appropriate.
Well, when we looked at the information, we concluded that, except for very minor circumstances, everything that was there belonged in the report.
So I'm still trying to get an answer to the question of why this happened. What was the motive? I mean, you know quite clearly that public perception is that this was a classic case of unequal justice, of someone in a position of influence, his family member, or rather this police report, getting a break that a regular Joe or Jane wouldn't get. Is that what happened?
Well, let's remember, both reports went to the defense counsel, both reports went to the prosecutor, both reports went to the court, and the charges didn't change at all. So in terms of anybody getting anything out of this, it's pretty hard to make that case. The charges as they were originally filed are still in place. That never changed, and both reports became part of the official record associated with this case. Our concern was, should those troopers have been disciplined for what they did, and should the colonel be getting engaged in editing reports or not? And in this particular case, our conclusion was the colonel should not have been involved in that. He shouldn't have ordered them to change the report, because the information, you could absolutely argue, belonged in it. And in addition to that, those observation reports, those reprimands for those 2 troopers should have been removed and will be removed from their record.
Well, people are upset because they perceive favoritism, as I just described. Are they justified in perceiving that?
I think anytime anything gets changed in an arrest report, there's going to be the potential for people that make a case with respect to favoritism. And there are other investigations that are now ongoing on this, and I support that. And I also said at the very beginning, once we got into this and took a look at it, that we felt the colonel made a mistake.
So your message to public officials, whether they're police officers or others, regarding doing a favor for a local big shot, a judge, a businessman.
You should never do a favor for a local big shot, period, ever.
And that's your policy?
Yes, of course.
And that's the new state police commander's policy?
You bet.
No exceptions?
No exceptions.
All right. We'll take a break, and then we'll move on to other topics as we continue our conversation with Governor Charlie Baker in a moment.